Forging links.
Forging links.
Forging links, one person at a time.
Oh, good morning.
Hey, hey, hey. Good to see ya.
Here's our little tight group. How are you all? How is everyone?
All good, good.
Unmute.
There's trouble. How are you feeling?
Better than I thought, actually.
How's Butch doing? Is he all right?
He tested negative today, but he's been coughing a little bit more than usual. But he hasn't got the croaky voice.
Well, you look great.
I think it's amazing what computers can do. Eh?
Good filter will fix anything.
Fix the one.
All right, looks like we've got a tiny little group here today. I just wanted to, I've been going through a few of the group chats that I'm in, and I've noticed that even among the VIPs and up there, there's some real negativity floating around, and I actually don't even know where you guys all stand with it. Like, I know where I stand, and I just assume everyone's in the same place, but I haven't even asked you. Like, how, anyone want to share about how they're feeling about what's going on at the moment? Are you in a positive space? Are you in a neutral space? Are you in a negative space? Like,
I'm definitely in a positive space, but I haven't even seen any of the negatives, so I'm not worried about it. So,
me too.
Yeah. What sort of things are they saying? You know what?
It's all about withdrawals.
Oh, well, that's greed.
Well, I think it's just maybe they didn't buy into the whole bigger picture, or maybe they can't see it. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure, but I actually feel sad because there's a couple of people on there and they're saying, oh, my team's coming at me every day, I can't do this and I can't do that, and what's going on? And that got me thinking, I haven't had one person come at me like that from our team. And then I thought, well, maybe I should ask and see if there is anyone worried. But then as I was reading through the messages, I noticed that they're saying, well, I'm getting nothing positive from my upline, so I've got nothing to pass to my people. And I thought that's where who you surround yourself with is really, really important.
And what they're saying is the buck doesn't stop here. It's up to my upline to get down to me, but it's not.
They're not taking responsibility at their level for their people. And I think that's, it goes back to that thing when we first came into it. I was told if you invite somebody in, you are to hold their hand until they don't need you anymore. They didn't say anything about your upline.
No,
it was the buck stopped with you.
Yep, exactly.
You were to look after whoever needed help in your team. So I just thought, well, I better find out from our team where everyone is and how they're feeling. And
well, that's most my tuppence worth. I do still need my hand holding, but not right now.
We love holding your hand. It's fine.
Yeah, just on that, Kirsten and Yvonne, and I agree. I think most of our team have kind of stayed on the positive side of things because it is easy. I mean, we've obviously plugged into some of the other groups as well because there's a lot of personal development stuff out there right now that, we've said all along and we've always maintained, you plug in, you can kind of go off and try and do this on your own, and to an extent you can. But if you're not surrounding yourself by positive people, then there's a good chance you're kind of going to get pulled towards the negative side of things. So I agree with you, Kirsten and Yvonne. What we've done, we've took advantage of, downtime, if you like, to get educated, to make sure you learn more about the back office. You make sure that you understand what being DeFi is and what minting and what, all these little functions of other opportunities, even as far as staking. A lot of people have only just started to go in about staking. NFTs, NFTs have been in the back office since the 4th of October last year. And yet here we are now, 6 months later, only talking about it now. So there's a lot in there for you to go in and start learning. Once Hyphenation, sorted. And the negativity is that everybody just got so used to withdrawing in their funds, thinking, "Wow, this is great, isn't it? This is almost like, it's like Christmas Day every day, isn't it?" And we kind of all got sucked into that realm without really focusing on what was the most important thing, was understanding what was coming down the line 1, 2, 3, 5 years from now, because that's where the real wealth is. The wealth is 3, 4, 5 years coming down when we understand the coins. We buy the coins, we mint the coins, we cloud mine the coins. There's thousands of ways of making money in this DeFi world. And the more educated you are in how to do that, then there's so much more wealth. We've just all come from a world where we're just used to going out to work every day, and then at the end of the week or the end of the month getting paid, and then we just keep repeating that. So I think we kind of fell into that trap a little bit, drawing funds out every week, every month, whatever we did.
Which pretty much is the same trap that we're already in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reliant on doing one thing and one thing only, whereas what we need to learn is that there's so many other ways to create wealth within this space, and that's where the focus is. Today, I just wanted to share a little 10-minute video it's 10 minutes, 9 minutes something, okay? Because today I want to talk about, now that we've worked out that we're all basically still in a positive space within our group, which is friggin' fantastic. I knew you were all special, but this is actually a 35-minute video that I watch or listen to while I'm walking just about every day, because I'm trying to reprogram all the negative stuff I've had in 50 years being put into my head. I'm just going to show you.
You that old?
I'm just going to play a 9-minute section, and I want you to take notes. Listen to what he's saying in here, because it's really, really important. And I think when the first time I listened to it, it just went, so you have to listen to it again and again. It's only a short little thing, so listen to it, take some notes, and we're going to talk about it after, okay? I'll just share my screen.
I'd like to tell you about the strangest secret in the world. Not long ago, Albert Schweitzer, the great doctor and Nobel Prize winner, was being interviewed in London, and a reporter asked him, "Doctor, what's wrong with men today?" The great doctor was silent a moment, and then he said, "Men simply don't think." And it's about this that I want to talk with you. We live today in a golden age. This is an era that man has looked forward, dreamed of, and worked toward for thousands of years. But since it's here, we pretty well take it for granted. We in America are particularly fortunate to live in the richest land that ever existed on the face of the earth, a land of abundant opportunity for everyone. But do you know what happens? Let's take 100 men who start even at the age of 25. Do you have any idea what will happen to those men by the time they're 65? These 100 men who all start even at the age of 25 believe they're going to be successful. If you asked any one of these men if he wanted to be a success, he'd tell you that he did. And you'd notice that he was eager toward life, that there was a certain sparkle to his eye, an erectness to his carriage, and life seemed like a pretty interesting adventure to him. But by the time they're 65, 1 will be rich, 4 will be financially independent, 5 will still be working, 54 will be broke. Now think a moment. Out of the 100, only 5 make the grade. Why do so many fail? What has happened to the sparkle that was there when they were 25? What's become of the dreams, the hopes, the plans? And why is there such a large disparity between what these men intended to do and what they actually accomplished? When we say about 5% achieve success, we have to define success. And here's the definition. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. If a man is working toward a predetermined goal and knows where he's going, that man is a success. If he's not doing that, he's a failure. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Rollo May, the distinguished psychiatrist, wrote a wonderful book called Man's Search for Himself. And in this book he says, the opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice, it is conformity. And there you have the trouble today. It's conformity. People acting like everyone else, without knowing why, without knowing where they're going. Now think of it. In America right now, there are over 14 million people 65 years of age and over, and about 13 million of these 14 million are broke. They're dependent on someone else for life's necessities. Now, we learn to read by the time we're 7. We learn to make a living by the time we're 25. Usually, by that time, we're not only making a living, we're supporting a family. And yet, by the time we're 65, we haven't learned how to become financially independent in the richest land that has ever been known. Why? We conform. And the trouble is that we're acting like the wrong percentage group, the 95% who don't succeed. Now, why do these people conform? Well, they don't know, really. These people believe that their lives are shaped by circumstances, by things that happen to them, by exterior forces. They're outer-directed people. A survey was made one time that covered a lot of men, working men, and these men were asked this question: why do you work? Why do you get up in the morning? 19 out of 20 had no idea. If you ask them, they'll say, everyone goes to work in the morning. And that's the reason they do it, because everyone else is doing it. Now let's get back to our definition of success. Who succeeds? The only man who succeeds is the man who is progressively realizing a worthy ideal. He's the man who says, I'm going to become this, and then begins to work toward that goal. I'll tell you who the successful people are. A success is the school teacher who's teaching school because that's what she wanted to do. The success is the woman who's a wife and mother because she wanted to become a wife and mother and is doing a good job of it. The success is the man who runs the corner gas station because that's what he wanted to do. The success is the successful salesman who wants to become a top-notch salesman and grow and build with his organization. A success is anyone who is doing deliberately a predetermined job because that's what he decided to do deliberately. But only 1 out of 20 does that. That's why today there isn't really any competition, unless we make it for ourselves. Instead of competing, all we have to do is create. Now, for 20 years, I looked for the key which would determine what would happen to a human being. Was there a key I wanted to know which would make the future a promise that we could foretell to a large extent? Was there a key that would guarantee a person's becoming successful if he only knew about it and knew how to use it? Well, there is such a key, and I've found it. Have you ever wondered why so many men work so hard and honestly without ever achieving anything in particular, and others don't seem to work hard and yet seem to get everything? They have the magic touch. You've heard them say that about someone. Everything he touches turns to gold. And have you ever noticed that a man who becomes successful tends to continue to become successful, and on the other hand, have you noticed how a man who is a failure tends to continue to fail? It's because of goals. Some of us have them, some don't. People with goals succeed because they know where they're going. Now think of a ship leaving a harbor, and think of it with the complete voyage mapped out and planned. The captain and crew know exactly where it's going and how long it will take. It has a definite goal. 9,999 times out of 10,000, it will get to where it started out to get. Now let's take another ship, just like the first, only let's not put a crew on it, or a captain at the helm. Let's give it no aiming point, no goal, no destination. We just start the engines and let it go. I think you'll agree with me that if it gets out of the harbor at all, it will either sink or wind up on some deserted beach a derelict. It can't go any place because it has no destination and no guidance. It's the same with a human being. Now let's get back to the strangest secret in the world, the story that I wanted to tell you today. Why do men with goals succeed in life and men without them fail? Well, let me tell you something which, if you really understand it, will alter your life immediately. If you understand completely what I'm going to tell you from this moment on, your life will never be the same again. You'll suddenly find that good luck just seems to be attracted to you. The things you want just seem to fall in line. And from now on, you won't have the problems, the worries, the gnawing lump of anxiety that perhaps you've experienced before. Doubt, fear, well, they'll be things of the past. Here's the key to success and the key to failure. We become what we think about. Now let me say that again. We become what we think about. Throughout all history, the great wise men and teachers, philosophers and prophets have disagreed with one another on many different things. It is only on this one point that they are in complete and unanimous agreement. Listen to what Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, said. He said, "A man's life is what his thoughts make of it." Disraeli said this, "Everything comes if a man will only wait. I have brought myself by long meditation to the conviction that a human being with a settled purpose must accomplish it, and that nothing can resist a will that will stake even existence for its fulfillment." Ralph Waldo Emerson said this, "A man is what he thinks about all day long." William James said, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind." And he also said, "We need only in cold blood act as if the thing in question were real, and it will become infallibly real by growing into such a connection with our life that it will become real. It will become so knit with habit and emotion that our interest in it will be those which characterize belief." He also said this, "If you only care enough for a result, you will almost certainly attain it. If you wish to be rich, you will be rich. If you wish to be learned, you will be learned. If you wish to be good, you will be good. Only you must then really wish these things, and wish them exclusively, and not wish at the same time 100 other incompatible things just as strongly." In the Bible you read, in Mark 9:23, "If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth." Dr. Norman Vincent Peale said this, "This is one of the greatest laws in the universe. Fervently do I wish I had discovered it as a very young man. It dawned upon me much later in life, and I've found it to be one of the greatest, if not my greatest discovery outside of my relationship to God. And the great law, briefly and simply stated, is that if you think in negative terms, you'll get negative results. If you think in positive terms, you will achieve positive results. That is the simple fact which is at the basis of an astonishing law of prosperity and success. In 3 words, believe and succeed."
How was that? I
Very
love that.
good.
I love that. I took down some notes when I was doing this in preparation for today's call. And I was just thinking about the things that I've told myself since I think it started, I was trying to think back when it started. I think it started when I was about 11. Things started coming into my head and they became almost like a mantra, the things that I told myself all the time. And I'll tell you, these are personal things, okay? So, because this is just our small little group, I would say, oh, yeah, I worked out that I was bigger than all the other girls in my class, you know, size-wise. And so, therefore, I was telling myself, oh, I'm fat. I'm fat. I'm fat. And I repeated this over and over again. I wasn't fat at all. I was just bigger than the other girls. That was it. But because that's what my mind believed, because I kept saying it, I behaved like a fat person. And guess what happened? I got fat. I spent most of my adult life huge, 122 kilos I got up to at one point when I was having my kids. That's huge. Other things was I was an introverted personality. So anytime I'd go to speak or say anything, I started thinking, they're not going to want to hear what I've got to say. They don't want to hear you. They don't want to hear your opinion means nothing. So because I was telling myself that, guess what happened? I became more introverted. I didn't talk to anyone. There was one point in my adult life where I had pushed basically everyone away. I ended my marriage. I wasn't talking to anyone in my family. I didn't go anywhere. I just was at home, fat, by myself. But that was all a product of what I had put into my head. So
Do you know what the terminology is for that, Kirsten?
No idea.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's exactly what it was. Exactly what it was. And had I learned at school things like I'm putting into my head now with this Earl Nightingale, that outwitting the devil, I'm going to break that down into little 10-minute sections as well, because that is massively important, the stuff in that audio. These are the kind of things that, had I learned about when I was 11, those negative thoughts would never have been able to take control in my head, and my life would have been different. Now, I'm not saying my life is bad, because every experience has led me to who I am today, and I kind of like who I am today. So I'm not saying I regret things, but I know going forward, the things that I didn't teach my children that I should have taught my children, I will be teaching my grandchildren. And I think everyone in this call can be doing the same thing. You know, we've missed opportunities with maybe our own kids, but our grandchildren and the ones coming after them, they are going to be hearing this. They're probably going to get sick of me telling them about how wonderful they are and how much they can achieve if they believe. Because I believe that the mind, we have control of our lives through our mind. Anyone got any thoughts that they picked up from that call?
Kirsten?
Yes, come in.
The interesting component is because, as I mentioned the other day, we've been studying this for over 30 years, and the Earl Nightingale and Powers of Positive Thinking and all those sort of books. That was a fantastic first step. But if at the same time we add in the next step, which is the importance of our emotions. So the reason we respond the way we do is because there's a part inside that wants to be safe.
Yep.
So the reason when, you did X, Y, Z behaviour because you told your mind that, the subconscious mind is always going to go to safety, security, the things that your inner child needs to feel that way.
That makes sense.
So the only way we can break through, that I've learned over all these years, is to, okay, you have your goals and your vision, and then why don't you take the action that you need to beyond that? Well, that's because the pattern in there needs to keep you safe and secure. It's like a computer program. Right. So if we start to note how we feel when we want to take different action, sometimes you can do it through force, but in general, that's not going to hold.
No.
You've only got to be triggered again, and then we're off on the same horse. So the approach to move through once and for all needs to be holistic, not just, one step, but a great first step. Yeah. But the goals, I usually have I call them intention now. And I also say, and for anything that's for my highest good, like sometimes it's better than I could possibly dream. The way we got out of the mess and ended up living on this 100 acres, my mind couldn't have thought of that. But then the higher aspect of yourself comes in and says, okay, I hear you. I can hear what you want to do with your life. You've already got sacred contracts. And then it provides opportunities way better than you could have ever dreamed.
Yes, that's what I've heard too. Like you can set the goal. You don't have to worry about how it's going to be achieved. You just focus on that goal every day, and the path is made clear.
But the trick is, how would you feel? Because it's already occurred in a non-physical realm. It's already existed. So how would you be responding, reacting, behaving? So it starts with beingness. It doesn't start with doingness. Who would you be? What were the different things that you would be doing if you already had the so-called success that you think you desire? You have to be that now.
Yes, in order to achieve that.
Yeah.
And that's mentioned further on in that talk. It's like you have to become the person that is that success, because when you feel it and act it, that's what happens. It happens by default.
And years ago, they used to say, oh, fake it till you make it. But there was a bit of a hint in that. To be it, it's how you operate, the things that you choose to do, how you would treat others if that was already the reality. And the being's non-physical. The being's non-physical, then the doing steps into the actions that you would be doing if you were already that. And then the having can't help but happen because it then drops into the physical realm.
Yep.
So it works a little bit opposite than when some people think they have to do. No, we've got to be first.
And that's the strangest secret.
Yeah. It's just flipping it around the other way a little bit.
Yes.
So it's got to be holistic. and not just get too focused. Oh, well, if I do this and think this, that'll be it. Well, nah, it takes a bit more.
Yeah, there's actually, I'm wondering whether Dorothy might be able to help us here. There's the
like
four
that.
elements, you know, there's the wairua, the physical, there's all these different things that have to, like, holistically have to come together to create the whole. Do you know what I'm talking about, Dorothy? It's like the four corners of the whare or something. I learned it in some training years ago, and it's just starting to make sense. What was that?
Upper far.
Yes, can you just explain that a little bit for us?
Don't want to do it wrong because I haven't used it for a long time.
That's all right.
Yeah.
But it's about
Yeah.
about having four corners to a house, and each one has to be strong. One was spirit, one was physical, one was mental, and one was social.
Emotional.
Like, yes. Yeah, very important. And see, when I learned those things back years ago, because I had to for work, it didn't hold anything. I thought, oh yeah, that's a nice theory, but I didn't grasp it. Now I'm starting to grasp it. So I'm going to go back and find that. Can you put the word of it in the comments for me, Dorothy, so I can go and study that up? Thank you, honey.
Can I just share on that, Kirsten?
Yeah.
Just going that again, what Jenny was saying, and Candy, you've alluded to it anyway. When I set my goal, I mean, I'm going back at least 10 years of wanting to raise 1 million people out of poverty. I had no idea how I was ever going to achieve that. And I embarked on a path of business. I opened up children's homes. I opened up services for mental health and autistic adults. And I was learning all of this stuff. And then I made the decision that I wasn't going to achieve it doing what I was doing. I had to change. I had to create another mindset. I had to look at personal development. And I went down the Earl Nightingale, the Covey, the Tony Robbins. I mean, I went down that route 25 years ago, a little bit similar to Jenny. And what you don't realize is the impact that has on your life in years to come. We had that brief conversation before we started. You are now finding yourself in the place that you never really envisaged you would be in. And as I've watched your journey over the last year, I've seen you go from a little cocooned moth, if you like, and now I'm seeing a blossoming butterfly come out the cocoon and away you go. Well, I was the same with my goal, because I knew that I wanted to impact on the world, and it's a big goal, and it's still a big goal. But I was struggling because I wanted to raise people out of poverty, as in the word poverty. So I was thinking of people like Africa, India, Pakistan, because I still believe that the greatest resource on the planet is still human beings and always will be. And how do we get to these people? How do we help these people? And even though our journey as Forging Links has been, coming up to 12 months now, we've achieved tremendous things, but we're only just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
And what was interesting, I was struggling to connect with South Africa. My personal PA is from Kenya. The charity that I sponsor is in Uganda. I've been talking to people in India this week, and I'm trying to give them this vision of, you've got to get outside of what you're doing. Your mental block, like you had your mental block. You were creating your own future by saying, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. This is not me. I'd sooner just sit back in the corner. And this is often the problem with people in poor countries. One, they don't know how to get out of the poverty, and they've been educated and taught that you just do what you're told, and there's no dream, there's no vision, there's no.
I'd say that's not just the poor countries. That's everybody.
No, but if you listen to what Earl Nightingale was saying, out of the 100 people that were asked the question, do you want to be successful in life? giving the environment that they could have all achieved that, only 5 of them did. What we're saying with poor countries, it's the opposite. You know, you maybe got only 5 that might be in that position, but not in America, not in Western culture where, you know, poverty doesn't have the same meaning as it does in South Africa, or it doesn't in India and Russia. The difference is, what is your environment telling you? Our environments as Western countries, our environments is telling us if we want to achieve, we can. The fact that we might choose not to, that's a whole different kettle of fish. But when you're in a country where you don't really have that opportunity, it's going to take something exceptional to get you out of that catalyst. And now with what we've got with this platform, decentralized finance, cryptocurrency, we now have that platform that I can now go to Africa.
Yeah.
And I've got connection. I've got Ruthie who's coming on board. I'm working with Ruthie. She's from Nigeria, her family. We're going to go to Forging Links is going to the people.
So now you can see that your dream of lifting 1 million out of poverty is
now achievable.
Yeah, it's now achievable. Yep.
It wasn't. Now, 12 months ago, it was still, oh, I don't know how this is going to happen. I've met more people in those countries in the last 2 weeks than I have in the last 12 months.
That's an example of having your goal, not knowing how you're going to get there, but just keep focused on that goal because the path will become clear. Which brings me back to, oh, sorry, what were you going to say?
Yeah. No, go on, you go on.
I was just going to say, when we first joined, because most people here are in Team Distinction, I think there's a few that aren't, but when we first joined and enrolled for the Expert Academy, we were told that we needed to write down 100 goals. Did we do that? I never got to 100. No. So after learning what I know now, because this has been a journey for the last 12 months for me. Now I can see the importance of writing down a goal. So I'd like you all just to focus, because did you hear what he said about a ship? If you put a ship, you know, ship's in the water and it's about to go somewhere, if you don't set its path and man it with people, what's going to happen to the ship? It's just going to either run aground or run, you know, it's not going to get to its destination. And I get that. If you don't have a destination, how the heck do you expect to get there?
But I also heard him say that don't fill up all your goals or anything that's going to take you away from your goal. Don't fill up with other things.
Yes.
Keep on your goal.
Focus.
And it might just be one goal. Well, you might be one small goal, and then you reach that and you make another goal to take you to there and make another goal. Don't overload yourself with, right, I'm going to be a millionaire and that's it. And not knowing how to do it. You've got to take one step at a time and make sure it's achievable.
Yes. Yep.
Make sure that step is achievable. And once you've hit it, make another. And make another. So the 100 goals would blow me out of the water as well.
Yeah, blew me out of the water. I never got there. But the thing is too, like if you, and this was something that really stood out to me in that call too. How do you define success? So some people might say, right, I want to be a millionaire. Why do you want to be a millionaire? Like what part of having $1 million makes you think that that's success? You kind of have to break down what you class as successful. Made me think about it, because all I wanted when I was growing up, you know, people were saying, what do you want to be? Oh, they want to be a nurse, or I want to be a fireman. All I wanted was to get married and have lots and lots of kids. That was it. And I used to get ridiculed. No, they were like, no, but like, really, what do you want? So in my mind, I thought, you know what? I am successful. I achieved what I wanted to achieve. It was a hard road, but if that's my level of success, I am successful. So it's about all of us defining what success means to us, because what it means to me is not what it means to Yvonne or to Paul or to Ben or to Dorothy. Everyone's got their own level of what they think is success. And I think if we can define that first off, we'll find that will entwine perfectly with what our goal is.
Do you know what the best way to define your success that I did this week as an exercise? Because I'd heard this kind of conversation in Boris's group earlier on in the week at Stupid O'Clock 5 a.m. But anyway, what I reflected back on and shared with the group was what I considered was my success. Because if it came to business success, I'm a failure out and out and out and out, time after time after time. Well, let me tell you where my success is. I've learned to appreciate the power of breathing from when I nearly died at Christmas. I've got 2 beautiful kids, successful father, 6 grandchildren, successful grandchildren. I've got you as a business partner, success. I've got this community, success. I've got friends I never had before, success. That's what I'm measuring as success, because I know without you all with me and with us as Forging Links, we can't do it on our own. Yeah. If you try and pursue life on your own, you're going to find yourself a very lonely person.
We were never designed to do life on our own. We were always designed to have a community, always. It's just been the design of evil people to separate us, because you're easier to conquer, divide and conquer. If you're separate, you're weak. Yeah. When you're together, you're strong.
Mm-hmm. And that's why we're putting boxes, we're putting the box of going to school, going to work, going to this and going to that and doing this and doing that. And ask yourself this one question. I know there's a lot of people here who are, church members, they share our faith in our church. But ask yourself this question: of all the billions, and I'm talking millions and millions of animals, insects, mammals, reptiles, ask yourself this question: why have men and women been given the ability to change their destiny, when no other species on this planet other than men and women can actually manipulate the environment, change the environment, and become whatever they want to become? If they set the goal, if they set the path, they have the belief and they have the vision. Take all that away, and Boris talked about this morning, we have 2 abilities in life. One is to become successful, and the other is not to become successful. It's just a choice.
Yep.
What is your choice going forward from this call? Are you going to be the person you were designed to be, or are you going to be the person that you don't want to be? Straightforward, isn't it? But it's not easy. It's not easy. It takes discipline.
Yeah,
discipline.
It's true. It's like what Jenny was saying. You've got your goal of who you want to become. Just start being that person now, as if it's already happened, because then the actions that you put in motion, thinking about being that person, are going to get you there. It's just a no-brainer. And I've only just worked it out. I love it. Has anyone else got anything to share from that? Celestia, yay. Unmute, darling.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hi. Just want to share a quick little experience about, we're talking about setting goals and our mindset. I remember being a young girl, I had all these goals, like go on a mission, get married, have these children, pay off my house, blah, 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 and do it by the time I was 30. So my husband and I had these goals. And I've always been a really positive mindseted person. And I didn't realize until about 30, 32 that I did them all. We did them. And I was able to do that. And when I thought about it, I went, that is so awesome. We did that together. And then we stopped making goals. Once we got to there, we stopped focusing, and then we kind of got a little bit lost. Life's still going well, but that told me that what my mum used to always say to me, she says, if you want it, go and get it. Just go and do it. You can do whatever you want. And I've been able to take that from my mum And that comes with the power of words, of what we tell our children and what we tell our teams, what we tell each other, that we can do it. You know, it is about surrendering to the higher purpose, whether it's on a spiritual level, when it's on an emotional level, whether it's on a team level. And, you know, the cool movie, if you're into Marvel, Shang-Chi, that movie, if you've watched it, there's a great line that I think entails all of this. The lady said, I can't remember the character, really small character, she says, if you aim for nothing, you get nothing. And I just went, that's exactly right. So aim for whatever we want. You're writing down those 100 goals. I did that exercise. I think I got like to 30, and then I'm like, oh, what else do I want to do?
Yeah.
And it realized how limiting my mindset was. So I just wanted to share that. Also, a quick other experience. Yes. I was having children, right? So I'm working as a podiatrist, so I carry everything around. And I had my last 2 children in my 30s, and I was working the full week, and they were due that week. So every day I would say and rub my belly, not yet, you can't come yet. I've got 4 more days to work. And I did that. I've got 3 more days. I've got 2 more days. You can't come yet because I'm not ready. The day that I finished work, I would stop and rub my belly. I said, I'm finished now. You can come. Both children went into labor within a couple of hours that evening, you know, after a full day of work, and they came. And my last child, I had said to my kids, said to this baby, I think I went into labor about 10 o'clock at night, and I said, you need to come at 5:45 or about 6 o'clock, because I'm coming back home to have lunch with my other kids with you. Right. So we walk into the hospital about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm walking in, and I'm like, I'll be out for lunch with my children. And the mother's wives are like, oh yeah, well, yeah, whatever. And my husband's walking back with a baby carrier going, oh, she means it. We'll get out of here. And my son was born 5:45 that morning, and by lunchtime, I'm having lunch with my kids at home, because I had decided that that's what I was going to do. There was no other option that I'd given myself. And I had, you know, worked with my child within me. And so I know just from like experiences in life, the power of our mind, not somebody else's mind, yes, but our mind. But we have to surrender and tap into that. And yes, fear, Kirsten, you mentioned, if everyone gets to watch that 10-minute clip on outwitting the devil, yes, it's powerful. Okay. And you will understand how he uses the word the devil or Satan, how he likes to manipulate how we are, right? And so we are limitless being, but the devil, so to speak, would like to keep us limited. But in this group of Forging Links, or whatever the team you're in, when you lift yourself up, you can only lift up others. So anyway, if you aim for nothing, you'll get nothing. So you won't be disappointed.
Exactly right.
Exactly. Those are my experiences on the power of the mind and my personal experiences. So I know with all of this in our group and all the noise that may come, whether it be negative, I'm like, I'm good. I'm standing on good ground, and I am just moving forward. And it has always been about the bigger picture, not about the rewards.
Yes.
So anyway, guys, have a great morning. I'm about to have breakfast and I have to jump off. So anyway, thanks for the power of being associated with all of you wonderful people.
Oh, thank you, my friend. Love your input every single time. Love it, love it, love it.
Thanks.
Right. I just want to address, we've got Atul here from India. Hi, Atul. It's lovely to have you here. He's said the Indian community is worried because of the withdrawal issue. Can you guide what's going on exactly? Because we love Hyperverse a lot. It's lovely to hear that you love Hyperverse, because we all love it as well. And I don't want to go into the withdrawal, like all the issues of that. Just know that you can be very, very excited, because Hyperverse isn't going anywhere. It's Hypernation's another branch, which is going to be even better in my eyes. But yeah, don't worry, they're sorting it out, and just, yeah, stay excited. And it's lovely to have you here, Atul. All right, were you going to say something, Paul?
Yeah, just really to address Atul. If you'd like to reach out, Atul, I'll have that kind of personal support conversation with you, because there are lots of things going on that really do need people to be sort of clear on. But yeah, just to echo what Kirsten says, it's all good. All we've got to do is just, I think we're being taught patience right now. But yeah, try and connect with me on Facebook, Paul Gunson. That's just
I've
been
put
posted.
your name in. I've put
And
Paul's
one of-
name in the comments there at all.
One of the things that I promised that I would do to anyone that comes into our community, we're there for you, irrespective of what team you're in. At the end of the day, we've lost a lot of leadership because they've gone on to other things. But we've kept the community going. We've filled the void, we think. And that's why we're attracting people from other groups, because we're just staying positive. We want people to feel they've got a home here, that they're part of a greater vision, a greater glory, if you like. We are community, we are family, we are spirit. And the more we connect on the human level, emotional level, the better. Yep. But yeah, we're here for you at all. If you want to just reach out, I'll support you all we can.
Awesome.
Good to have you here.
Jenny, I can see you had your hand up again. Can you unmute for us, lovely? There we go.
Yeah, I've done that. Just both Gary and I love this topic of how to create the life you desire. And there was quite a simple teaching, and I'll post a picture of it later. I'll send it to Kirsten. And it was called TFAR, Thought, Feeling, Action, Result. And when we go into the thought component of it, which is what we're talking about, using our mind, it's good to understand that there's a conscious mind, which is the one we're doing the thinking about. But just under that, there's a subconscious mind, and we call that the feeling mind.
Yeah.
So whenever we're doing the goal, the importance of the feelings and using the whole five senses, because Gary's got an incredible story about manifesting an amazing car years ago, and it was all done through this sort of process.
An amazing what, sorry?
An amazing car. It was like a $250,000 car of all things.
Right.
And I thought he couldn't have it, because I thought, oh my God, that's too much money. And in a way, I got in as a partner, and that's another thing in a team. If one of the partners is not aligned with the vision of the dream, you can actually block it for the other person. Because I thought it was too much money for a silly car. And I'm saying to him, well, you can only have a second-hand one. It'll only, it'll be 2 years old. But the magic of him, he had this visual image of it sitting on his desk, and he would take 5 minutes and sit with it. And we've got an amazing road here, the Great Ocean Road. And he would imagine that the sunroof was open and the wind was blowing in his hair, and he could see the vision of the ocean behind him. It was amazing. And he set it for my birthday, June the 30th. And the kids said, Dad, where's the car? Where's the car? Because it wasn't there. And it was actually me getting in the way of thinking it was too much money.
I see, yeah.
A couple of months later for his birthday, we were in Sydney, and the kids said, oh, let's go see your car, Dad. And they offered us to go for a drive. Where we're in this car, it's got massage seats in the back and the fridge in the back. And all. Well, the kids, everybody fell in love with it within a couple of weeks. And I'd written down a price on a piece of paper per month. And the CEO of the company had driven this car for 500 kilometres. So now it's secondhand. And he got it. I negotiated the interest rate to within a couple of dollars per month. And then we drove out with this so-called secondhand come new 500 kilometre car. It was just so confirming. But it wasn't until we all got excited about it.
Yes,
we all got
on the same
board,
page. Yeah.
And not telling him he was nuts, which really, to be honest, I had been. So I was actually interfering with it. So we can either go thoughts, feeling, and at that feeling space, interfere with it and make sure we get the excitement and the beingness that we're talking about. Then the action that you take is more likely to be empowered, and the outcome will be. But we tend, and I don't know, it's a bit of the chicken or the egg. What comes first, the emotion or the thought? But if you interrupt the thought and have an empowering thought, then the emotion will be high. Yes. If you have a thought that is a bit down in the dumps, which can happen because of the victim consciousness of the world, we tend to be picking up on that. So we need to protect ourselves from that. And then the feeling that
otherwise we're blocking ourselves.
Yeah, but inadvertently, if we don't look after our mind, we're working on the mind of the world, and that's going to become harder and harder. So what you're teaching here is amazing, in that when we take and manage our own mind or our own feelings, take your choice, then more likely we're going to have the outcomes that we're going to manage whatever happens in the world. And that's the bigger picture.
Yes.
So, we want to be the empowered leaders that can show and support others to be able to have a life that we desire.
Exactly. That's something else that I wrote down, what you just said. He used exterior forces.
Yes.
So if we can build ourselves up to a point, it won't matter what's going on outside of us, because we will manage it because of who we are within ourselves. The exterior forces won't matter.
Every now and again, I just kind of check in and I ask myself, I do it with a pendulum and things, but just ask myself, how much of what I'm thinking is actually true to my life? Or am I unconsciously picking up what's out there, what actually gets heard through the radio or the news, or the lady down the road who's scared about Joe Bloggs and she decides to dump her shit on you?
Yeah.
It's like, well, no, that's not mine. And then choosing to how much of this is mine and how much can I do different processes to just let it go and focus on how can I be the best version of me.
And that's not actually an easy thing to do either.
Well, it can be.
Yeah, well, I'm learning that now. I used to take on other people's problems as if they were my own and I had to fix them. So even if my children came to me with a problem, I had to fix it in my head.
And you've just come out to a different topic. You say, why do I respond that way?
Yeah.
Because there's a part of me inside that learns if I solve someone else's problem, then I'm not in the energy of a problem. So then I feel better, and I also feel good about me because I was able to help. But it's not necessarily always the best thing for you or the other person.
Totally get that now.
Yeah.
All these things, I'm having all these light bulb moments, and this is literally since the withdrawal stopped.
Wow. Okay. So,
I'm grateful. I think it was just for me. So sorry, guys, if you're going through an inconvenience. I think it was just for me to learn what I had to learn.
no, but in truth, that is true for everybody. Because if we thought that was going to be our only saviour, that's not necessarily true. It's a fantastic tool and supported people in so many different ways. But it's one tiny component of how do I manage adversity when it comes through, or how do I manage challenges? And as the world shifts and changes, maybe there's going to be more, and this is going to be the most amazing thing for all of us.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm just so grateful. I'm honestly grateful, because if that hadn't stopped, I wouldn't be where I am today, and I wouldn't be on a different path. It's way better as far as I'm concerned than withdrawals and rewards. Thank you very much, Jenny. Paul just asked me to share something that we went through as a business partnership, which goes in line with what Jenny's talking about. Something came up a few weeks ago and we actually fell out big time. Like, he was annoyed at me, I was annoyed at him, and I just said, look, we cannot go forward here. We cannot go forward together because you think this and I think this, and we're never going to marry up. Turns out that we were looking at the exact same issue, just with two different views. Once we worked out what was going on, we were able to talk it through and come back to a place of we're on the same path. But these things are going to happen. These things are going to happen all the time. And so what Jenny was saying, one would block the other. Our vision of going forth and just lifting, creating this big, beautiful community, helping each other out, lifting each other, had come to a massive standstill. And had we not worked it out, I mean, some would have gone with Paul, some would have come with me, but it wouldn't have been the same, because we've all got something to add into this bigger community. Do you see what I'm saying? We would have been half as strong, well, not even. We're strong because we've got so many different ideas, so many different personalities, and we're all in one space, and we're all learning off each other. So, yeah, I totally get what you're saying about everyone has to be on an aligned space. And I think that's what we're creating in here in Forging Links. Because there's
And
some
maybe-
people.
Yeah, and just,
Sorry, go.
I just thought to myself, and maybe just that component is one of our biggest lessons. We don't all have to think the same beliefs, but if we can respect other people's.
Yes.
So our human journey is what they call duality. There has to be two sides to everything. And some people through their life, their perspective is on one side, and then the other person's perspective is on the other side. But they're the same thing.
One of the coin.
Exactly what you said. So we talk about a coin. The coin has two sides, but it also has an edge. And I'm always about coming back to the edge. If I'm too heavily weighted on one side, my mind is the thing that's in control.
Yep.
Because it's remembering patterns of the past and what serves me. But the person on the other side is they're remembering their past and what serves them. So if we come to the center in the energy of love and respect and compassion, and then just say, okay, we can have two different opinions looking at the same thing and both be right. When you've got that, we've nearly healed the wars and challenges of the world.
Yeah.
So the amount of times I come back, Jenny, come back to the center of the coin. Just let me listen to politicians and I go, yeah, justice, injustice. And I think, no, I'm too heavily weighted on one side. Come back to the center. And the center is the energy of love. I call it neutrality. Just come back to a neutral spot in the energy of love and allow people to be where they're at. And truly, we're starting to save the world.
100%. Great. Love it.
brilliant, Jen. Can I
Love it,
just come
Jimmy.
in on about what we went through? Yeah, we were basically, and you maybe think back a couple of weeks, we started talking about perception, and I showed that picture of, you know, the woman, the beautiful woman, or the old hag, and that's kind of where me and Kirsten were at. We were both seeing the same picture, just for total different reasons. And I kind of went through that with my wife, 42 years. You know, while our kids were young, we had the same goals. As they became older, they started to be different goals. When the grandkids came along, they were even different goals again. And as we approached what was, you know, sadly, my wife passing away 2 years ago, we had almost got to where me and Kirsten were literally a couple of weeks back, because we were both seeing life in almost opposite directions, and we just were not connecting again. We you know, we loved each other dearly, and you know, I've only ever known my wife. There's never been any other woman in my life, and that was it. And Ben knows my dear wife very, very well. But here was the thing. That's exactly what we're talking about. But when I got a healing session, which I think a lot of you saw when I posted it, I connected to a completely different realm. Because if I had one question that I hadn't ever been able to get answered, my wife always promised me, if I can get back and let you know what's going on, I will find a way. Now, if you know, well, you don't know Pat, Ben will know Pat, but when Pat says something, he means it, okay? And I'll tell you now, she would not be fearful of God. She would not be fearful of Jesus Christ. If she's got a problem, trust me, she would go and get it sorted. And but what was interesting in that healing session, sorry, I'm just getting a bit emotional now. She found a way, and she found a way through forging links, because one of our community is a healer, and Pat reached out to her and said, I need you to speak to my husband. I need you to connect me to my husband. And to cut a long story short, because I'm really loving this and I want to hear other people's share, she said in a message to me, we both built our dreams together, but I fulfilled mine. This is her speaking. She raised 117 children as a foster carer. She said, I've lived my dream. Now you, speaking to me, now you go and live our dream. And our dream on retirement was to travel the world together. Now she's instructed me to travel the world for you beautiful people, to build this community, to build these forging links, to go to Africa, to go to India. That's why I want to speak to Huddle, because I need to make that connection with India, because right now I don't have that connection. Pakistan, the same, because I want to travel the world to fulfill our goal, but at the same time, live my dream now, because Pat's fulfilled hers. Now she's connected back to me and took me to a whole new level of spirituality. And I'm grateful for what you guys have brought us. And I just know we're going to do tremendous things. But I want you guys to know I love this lady, Kirsten, because she got me through the loss of my wife, because she was the only listening ear that I had. I had nobody, including my daughter, because we were both on a breakdown situation. Sometimes when it's close, it's hard. But through our connection, through other things, we're not only business partners, but I'd like to think we were actually dear friends now. And that's only happened over a 2.5-year journey. But I do believe right time, right place, right people. And you are just also beautiful people. Some of you need a little bit of work on your faces, but let's keep it going. Let's keep positive. Let's keep the energy. Let's feel the love. Let's keep going. And I'm just so grateful and humbled by your being in this team and being part of our journey, because we know then that we're part of your journey. And I posted that up today. If you've got a goal and you've got a dream, let us help you fulfill that dream and that goal, because we're on that journey with you. Yeah. And we're here with you and for you. And I just love you all. And yeah, great stuff. Great topic. Keep going.
On that note, I think we've hit the hour, and I think that was just a really, really cool. If we can just keep tight and keep listening and learning from one another, there's wealths of experience in this room. Mate, we're going to reach massive heights. If we can keep those goals in our mind, don't worry about how we're going to get there, because if we just act as if it's already happening, guess what? It happens. So excited. Love having you all on the call today. Thank you, Jenny, for your input. Appreciate that. Thank you, Yvonne. Everyone that contributes, Dorothy, love you all. Can't wait for our next huddle, but good night, Go Home Project. I don't know what your name is, but thank you for being here. We're going to have, Paul's going away for a couple of days. He's got big things happening somewhere else, so there's been nothing for a couple of days. We'll be back for our Mellow Yellow chat on Tuesday, and those ones are pretty much, because Paul's going to be doing his Techie Talk ones AM his time, and so I'm going to be doing the fluffy yellow ones my time. So tune into the fluffy yellow and the tech talk, because both ends are covered. Okay, love you all, guys. Thank you very much for being here. I'll post that full Earl Nightingale, The Stranger's Secret. Listen to it, and then listen to it, and then listen to it again. And
when you're sick of listening to it, listen to it again.
Bye, guys. See ya.
Take care, guys.
Forging links.
Forging links, one person at a time.